Hey everybody, it is Rob, and this is the first video of the beginner series. I want to apologize in advance. My voice is really raspy, and I'm not sure why. Um, and there's this light coming off the screen, so I look really red. And I also want to say sorry for the fact that it's taken me forever to get this video out for as simple as it's about to be. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste any more of your time. We are talking about the process today. So first step in the process is to come up with an idea. Um, from how I see it, you have about three options. That's how I approach this issue. Your idea can be novel, which is something you haven't seen yet. Obviously, I can't come up with anything off the top of my head. You know, maybe you're making art that's I don't know, like towels or something. I'm sure nobody's made NFT towels. Um, or you can pick something that's niche, like the racing thing seems to be a very big niche right now. People are making tons of games where you buy a car NFT and you can race it around. I just saw a turtle racing game. Um, you can do something that's cute. That was the approach I took. Obviously, there's a ton of cute NFTs out there, so that's a big category to fight in. Um, I did cute and plants. I did not see a lot of plants at all. So that was my way of being novel in the NFT space. I couldn't find a single plant uh, NFT series or collectible. Um, or you could do like the girl power thing is another really good example. I just saw Crypto Chicks launched like 2 days ago. I was there for that, and they are sold out already. And the floor on their NFT is really creeping up really fast. So um, that's a good one. It seems to be getting a lot of traction right now. Or you could do like the copycat thing. Um, I'm not a huge fan of this one, but you can't argue with results. A lot of people are making CryptoPunk knockoffs and apes and all of that crap. Other penguins, um, and they're selling a shit ton of them and making a lot of money. So I'm not a fan of that, but you can do that. They're selling. Can't argue with it. Once you picked an idea, you got to build a team. Your team is made up of about four big components. First, you got your artist. They're in charge of making all of the art. They need to be good with like Adobe Illustrator or some other program. I'm not an artist, so not sure what else there is out there. But you're making an NFT. It's probably going to be digital art, so you want to pick an artist that's good at making digital art. Um, Next, you've got your marketers, which can be broken down into a couple different roles. You've got your shillers. These are the people that run around to a bunch of different Discord servers and spam, the word of Jesus Christ in everyone's servers about your NFT. Um, you've got your community manager. Incredibly important guys. They're the ones that engage your community. If you've got a server with 3,000 people, and I've seen this, and nobody talks, then you're going to have newcomers coming to your server, and they're going to hang around for about 10 minutes, realize no one's there and it's not active, and they're going to leave. And you just lost a real potential customer there because you just didn't have an engaging community. So it's really important to have a community manager there. I also put them in charge of running like giveaways and collabs with other projects. um, so it would help if they're good with Discord. They can help set up your bots and stuff too. And then you've got your marketing head. This is the guy that goes around and finds a community manager and a shiller, or a team of shillers preferably. And they're also in charge of running promos and stuff. They're essentially the money bags of your marketing team. When someone spams your DM, if you're the community manager, someone spams you and says, hey, I've got a proposal. I have a Twitter page with 200 followers, whatever. Just send them to the marketing head. That's his job. And finally, you've got your developer or developers. Like I said, for my project, I'm a solo developer. Um, I also do all the marketing. But you could have one, you could have more. I've seen teams of 4 developers. I think that's a bit excessive, but it all depends on the size of your project. If you're just doing basic art, Nothing fancy, which is the whole purpose of this series, is to just do basic avatar art NFTs. um, then you can probably get by with one or two developers. But if you're doing something crazy, like you're making a game or something, then you're obviously going to need more people uh, to handle that. You'll need someone who can build a game, you know. And finally, you've got your money, which is a very important part of your team. You could also call it your investors. I don't know if usually the person with the idea typically has access to funds, typically, but if you don't, you've got a great team already built, but you guys have like $500 or something, you need to go find investors. Speaking from experience, I've launched a very, not that I think my project is subpar, but like I launched a very low key project, and I'm sitting at about $5,000 invested. So this shit's not cheap. And if you're going in here thinking that you can launch a whole project on an empty pocket, you're sadly mistaken. So if you need to get some money, you got to go out and round up some investors. Speaking of money, we've got your budget and your timeline. This is all subject to your project's discretion, mostly based on how much money you can come up with from yourself or your investors. But it also depends a lot on like what blockchain you're building on. For this whole series, we're going to be talking about Ethereum, just because that's what I did. And ignore the timeline that's going to pop up on the right. My smart contract cost roughly $1,000 to deploy. There's nothing fancy in it. It's just a basic art contract. And when gas was about 60 way when I launched, it cost me like $800 to launch my contract, or to publish it to the Ethereum blockchain. So definitely factor that in. That one is not cheap. If you're launching your project on Solana or Cardano or something, Wax I think is another big one, then it'll probably be cheaper, like a lot cheaper. But again, I don't have any insight on that because I have not done that. So I'm not going to, blow smoke out my ass about what it might cost. For your artist and developer, I put them on this page because you can handle them two ways. You can hire someone on for a set fee. You hire a developer to make your smart contract and to build your website, and you hire an artist to make all your art. You can do that. I don't know what it costs because I didn't do that. What I would suggest is bringing them onto your team for a percentage. Or if you do hire them for a one-time job, make sure that they're willing to support you after they're done with delivering their product. And I say this because your developer especially is going to run into issues, and or you as a different member of the team are going to run into issues, and you need to be able to rely on them for basic question and answer stuff. Like say your minting comes around and your developer forgot to set your base URI in your smart contract or something, so nothing's showing up on OpenSea. This is, if you just did a one-off job with your smart contract, you're fucked. Your developer probably won't answer you because they don't give a shit. They already have their $2,000. So in my opinion, it's very important that you bring them onto your team so you can get continuous support from them, or find a person that's not a piece of shit and isn't just going to, drop you as soon as they get their cash. And for your marketing, I kind of broke it down into three categories. You've got your Twitter promos. If you're looking at a good page with a lot of followers and proven results, you can expect somewhere around like $80 each. This is just from experience, $80 to like 200. And you'll probably end up doing somewhere between like 5 and 10 of these. You don't need to be running them all the time because hopefully as you build up your community, you just won't need to run as many promos. So anywhere from 80 to 200 each. Excuse me. For your shilling, from what I've found, a good shiller will cost roughly $1 per invite. These invites are not invites sent. Excuse me. Jesus. They're not invites sent out, they're invites that come to your server. So, um, it's people that get shilled, they get some DM or something, and they join your server and they stick around. So it's important that in terms of shilling, you have a good invite tracker on your server so that your shillers can keep track of how much they've worked and you can keep track of how much to pay them. They typically want to get paid up front. I don't think I've ever found anybody that will work for free and get paid later. That seems to be the norm in the NFT space just because everyone's used to getting scammed. You might be able to do a 50-50. I have done that once, and that worked out just fine, where you give them 50% up front and 50% when they're done. And then you've got your giveaways. This depends on the blockchain your project is on, just like the smart contract. For Ethereum, to mint one of my NFTs that I'm doing for my giveaway or whatever, I don't pay the minting price that a normal customer would, but I do have to pay the gas fee, which is roughly $60 at the moment. But that all depends on the price of Ethereum and the gas at the time you're doing the giveaway. So if you're on a different blockchain, this will probably be a lot cheaper and you won't have to worry about it as much. But if you're doing an Ethereum project, you definitely got to factor that in. And in terms of timeline, I would cut out like 2 to 4 weeks for the actual work, for your artist to make the art, for your developer to build the website, do the contract and the image generation. And then I would also put the marketer's groundwork, we'll go over that in a sec, in the first 2 to 4 weeks. That's where they're setting up the server and stuff. And then I would do 2 to 3 weeks of actual marketing once the project is finished. I feel like that's a good time to get some good momentum. Don't drop your budget in the first 2 weeks because you'll need it for the last week. The last week's the most important. That's where you do a huge in-your-face push with whatever you got left. And the process can be broken down just like this. So you pick your idea. We already talked about that. Build your team. Decide on a sale type and specifications. When I say sale type, I'm talking about, do you want it to be minted from your website or do you want it minted from an exchange? We'll do a whole video on this. But in general, I think the community prefers that you do website minting. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but you got to decide that before you move forward. Along with your specifications. This is the number of NFTs you're going to make. You could do 10,000, you could do 3,000, you could do 420, you could do 69. And you need to decide whether you're going to whitelist or not. This is important because your developer needs to factor that into his smart contract or his or her smart contract that they're making. Along with this step, I don't have it on the slide, but you also want to pick out your traits that you want your art to have. Like say, for instance, mine with the plant or the succulent, I have several different traits. I've got the pot, the plant, the background, the pet, which is like the bugs that are around the place, and the statues, which are like the extras, the gnome and the alien and stuff. You need to pick out all of those traits and write down what you want for rarities, because your developer will need this for the image generation. And then you finally start your work. The dev is going to build the website and the smart contract first. They're not going to touch the image generation because your artist is still making the traits. They can't do anything without the actual art. Seems very obvious, but I felt like I should mention that. So they'll build the website and the smart contract. Again, videos on all of that later on. Your artist is going to start making all the traits. Whether that's in Adobe Illustrator or some other program. Each image is going to be its own file, and then your developer is just going to pile all those things together to compose a single image. And your marketers are going to lay the groundwork. This is essentially the social setup. This is where you get a fancy Discord set up with a million bots and emojis all over on the left-hand column, and a place for people to shill so that they're not blowing up your regular chat. Just a nice place where everyone can join your server and not hate their life. You turn off all the notifications for all the spammy chats and all that stuff. And you're also going to set up a Twitter, or I would recommend you set up a Twitter. It seems like Discord is where all of the sales come from, but I think Twitter helps direct people to the Discord. I know it's really popular, or slightly popular, for people to use Reddit, Telegram, and Instagram. I don't see a whole lot of value in those. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they do anything Twitter can't do. It's just kind of an extra workload for your marketing team. I would say that you really only need the Twitter and the Discord, and if you can keep those alive and healthy, then you're fine without the other three. And finally, you're going to finish up your work. For the dev, this is the image generation. They're also going to upload everything to IPFS, which is a big decentralized database. We'll talk about it. And your marketers are going to do a big final push. This is, like I said in the last slide, this is essentially where you just, leading up to your launch, you just dump the rest of your budget. Now, you obviously don't have to do this. I'm not telling you got to spend more money than you want, but this seems to be where most of the money is spent in the marketing process is, towards the end, right before a launch. That's when you really see shillers like in your face about projects that are up and coming. And finally, you will hopefully launch and make some money. I tried to keep it short and to the point. If you guys have any questions, you think I missed something, stick around, comment down below, and I will talk to you in the next video. See ya.